Hello and welcome to Chaos to Clarity, the podcast that's your compass to navigate the exciting world of service-based businesses. If you're a determined woman in your current business adventure, striving to conquer the chaos and build your empire, then you are in the right place. I'm your host, Maggie, your go-to business bestie and chaos navigator. I've spent nearly 2 decades in the service-based industry, building a photography business, a yoga studio, and now a thriving coaching practice. I've cracked the code to consistent income without all the chaos and noise. So get ready to increase your business growth, connect with your ideal clients, and find ease in both business and in life. It's time to turn your frustrations into inspiration and your chaos into clarity. So go ahead and grab your coffee, a pen and paper, and let's dive into the journey of building your dream service-based business together. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. I am so excited to have Kristen and Jeanne with me here today. I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about who they are, what they do, and how long they've been in business.
Okay, great. Well, my name's Jeanne Wilson, and I originally was a 9-to-5er, working in the cubicle lifestyle, if you will. I worked in the U.S. and the U.K. as well, and then when I came back to the U.S., I thought, after working a couple jobs here, I thought, I always had an entrepreneurial bug. And so one of the things after I had my second child, I was like, I definitely wanted to stay home. And so I had been in marketing for forever. So I started a marketing business, and that went, really well. And it actually went a little bit better than I expected. So all of a sudden here I was, juggling things. And I needed some help because I didn't have any entrepreneurs around me. So I was looking for a mentor, and that's when Kirsten was actually my mortgage broker at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we were refinancing, and I said to her, she was asking me all these questions, and one of them was, "How's your business going?" I said, "Well, it's going really, really well, but I need a mentor. I need somebody to help me expand it, to get it to the next level, to take me a little bit out of the everything, because I was a one-person show, as many of you understand.
Yeah.
With a toddler and a newborn at home, it was, plate spinning, as my husband would call it. And so Kirsten and I started working together, and then she and I actually, she came up with the idea. She had been learning about hiring people from overseas because their cost of living is so much less expensive, so it makes it more affordable for us, to hire them. And so that's how we started hiring these amazing people from the Philippines. But Kirsten likes to say that if we could do it wrong, we did it wrong in the beginning.
And often more than once.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Kirsten and I then ended up getting together and starting a business together, because I knew marketing really, really well, and she knows business really, really well. Like, she's a amazing, like, big picture thinker, and I'm more of the, into the day to day. And so we put our heads together and said, wow, we can help a lot of entrepreneurs out there to understand that they don't have to do everything in their business.
Right.
So Kirsten, do you want to capitalize on that and tell them a little bit about you?
Yeah. So I'm Kirsten, and I spent actually most of my career in real estate. So I started on the real estate side, ended up on the mortgage and title side. And I did a ton of loans for self-employed people. And so they would always come back and say, like, can I pick your brain?
Yeah.
So I ended up launching coffee with people. And so I started coaching, which was really great, because 2008 was like living hell for most of us in that business.
Yeah.
In business. I could say we survived, we didn't thrive.
Yep.
And so I just started taking on coaching clients because it just, it made sense. And eventually I phased out of real estate in late 2013 and into full-time business coaching. And like Jeanne said, I love everything about business. I've never really been a corporate person because I would die. But yeah, I just love helping people. And I think from over a decade of working with so many entrepreneurs, you realize that they often it's that whole hustle society, hustle, hustle, hustle.
Mm-hmm.
And they burn themselves out. You see pictures of people on Facebook laying in hospitals. It's like, what is wrong with this picture? Why does our culture think that's okay?
Right.
And so I'd already started helping Jeannie outsource. And we just love that whole concept. I've always had staff. So I think we have 11 or 12 people working for us now.
Okay.
And so we just love helping, small business owners, whether they're online or local,
Mm-hmm.
marketing virtual assistant, because we do believe that marketing is the key to growing your business,
Right.
especially in economic downturns like what we're having right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to do what we love, marketing and helping business owners grow.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I love that. I know I was fresh out of college during that 2008 business.
Oh, she's just a baby.
I'm just a
I know,
baby. I was fresh out of college and fresh in corporate, and I knew I didn't like it.
Right.
So I was, like as I grew my first business, I was like, how can I get out of corporate? So I definitely understand that, like, this is not for me. And then that growth, and as you both talked about, like being able to help others grow as well. I think something that's really amazing about your business is you're kind of offering support on two sides, right? You're giving people who like to do some of that nitty gritty, that I guess I would call it hustle work, right? The work that's like, oh man, I have to go in and create posts and I have to schedule this and schedule that entrepreneurs, if you're doing it all, sometimes I think that is the work that might drive most of us the craziest, right? Because you're like, oh man, I just did this yesterday. Now I have to wake up and do it again, right? I mean, and I've definitely had those days where it's like, oh my gosh, okay, take a breath. Let's refocus, right? And move forward. So I think it's really amazing that you get to help people on both sides of the spectrum, right? The entrepreneur as well as the, person who's like, yeah, give me all the little tasks. I love those details.
Yeah, the virtual assistants that we place with our clients are marketing virtual assistants. So they're all incredibly talented designers, and they love video editing. And so and they love social media. So they are really taking tasks off a lot of business owners' plates that they don't really enjoy doing. Like you said, you can do them, but it's the best use of your time to do them.
Right.
And so it is really magical. We joke that we believe in like long-term relationships. So when we place a virtual assistant with one of our clients, we want them to be with that client for years.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is about helping the virtual assistant and the client build mutual respect and trust, and making sure that everything is on brand and that the client's getting, what they want. And again, once you have that support person, you'll never go back to doing it on your own.
Right.
Never.
Yes. Yeah. I have a virtual assistant, and she works like 1 hour a day for me right now, right? As I'm in this kind of growth period. And, I'm already trying to find ways to like, okay, how can I maximize her 1 hour? And how can I also increase those hours, right? Like, what is my action plan to be able to increase that? So that, I can have her working with me for a long period of time, right? And I think that it's such a cool thing in this digital world that we, get to make these connections, and like I get to train her to do exactly what I want her to do, which is that's so helpful for me as the entrepreneur, right? As the big thinker, the CEO, like the driver of the bus. Now I don't have to worry about some of those minutia details because she's got it covered, right? I can trust her.
I would give up food before I'd give up my virtual assistant.
Yeah,
pounds. I can survive without food. I mean,
right?
Like think about where you place value on things, and I always find we can always find what we really want. We can always afford what we really want.
Right. Yes.
And so it's so fun when we're working with someone and they're changing their budget or reallocating assets to be able to have that support person. And you're different because so many people don't want to train a virtual assistant. That's why they love having them already trained by us.
Mm-hmm.
So have the time to train them, like you said, to do everything exactly the way you want it. That's fantastic. But a lot of times what we find is clients or businesses are really growing and they're kind of between that rock and the hard place because they didn't put someone in place when they had the time to do it.
Right.
Probably because they didn't have the finances. And now that they really need someone, they don't really have the time to spend 6 weeks interviewing them and vetting them and training them and making sure that they're up to speed. So
Right.
Yeah, you're in a good place to be able to take someone and just take it 1 hour at a time and to get them where you want them to go.
Right. Yeah. And and I think you're totally right. Most people are like, I don't need a virtual assistant. I've got it done. And then they start to get, like success starts to come and they start to do more. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, now I'm working 80 hours a week just to keep my head above water. And now I'm, then there's that psychological level, that subconscious level of like, oh, now I'm telling the universe I'm too busy to add anything else to my plate, right? So, I know some of the people who listen to this, they're, like they're into the woo-woo stuff, right? But it's true when you start thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, that on a subconscious level, like now you start kind of like turning away from those opportunities that could allow for growth. So that rock in the hard place is definitely a very good analogy for that, to be like, okay, I am ready to take and I wasn't necessarily ready to take on a virtual assistant, but I knew I needed help and I knew I didn't like always having to post on social media, right? Like, but marketing, if I'm not telling people that I'm open, or if you're not telling people that you're open for business, no one's going to come. No one's going to walk in the door because they don't know.
And people, when they get busy, the first thing they put on the back burner is marketing.
Yeah.
Or when finances get tight, the first thing to do is cut their marketing budget, which is the biggest mistake you can do. That's why everybody's on this income roller coaster. Right. They have time to hustle and market, then they get clients and they're busy doing the client work. And then they stop marketing. So their income's going to drop back down until they can market again. So it's this horrible roller coaster that so many business owners are on. And I think that's why Jeanne and I, one, she loves marketing and she's so smart with marketing and great with it, that's why we really wanted to focus just on marketing virtual assistants to help, our clients. Because again, not marketing your business, you're not most likely not growing your business.
Right. Which I think is, to me, is fascinating when people like they'll market, they'll start to get clients and then they'll stop marketing. Right? I've watched so many people that I'm friends with, right? Like I'll see all their stuff, they're launching, they're this, and then all of a sudden it goes silent. And I'm like, what? Why are you stopping? Now all that momentum that you've built is like you've pushed the rock halfway up and now you're just I'm going to go take a break and sit over here by a tree. Your rock is rolling downhill. Right. And I know that from my, from owning a yoga studio, from owning the photography business, right? If I wasn't in a constant state of like, hey, I've got this offer. Hey, here's this. Did you know we offer this? Did you, right? If I wasn't in a constant state of that, it was like crickets for, sales. And I didn't go to marketing school, right? Everything I learned is from the School of Hard Knocks and Dr. Google, right?
I call Google.
Yep, that's where I learned it all from that, and like just asking my peers for advice, right? Me asking other studio owners, other photographers, hey, how are you doing this? Even now today as a business coach, right? In the coaching world, and I don't necessarily consider myself, I'm a business coach on like steroids, right? Because there's so many things that I like bring to the table, mindset, accountability, business, networking, right? All those things that I weave in that really allow me to like maximize my time with my clients, but also connect them to the right people, right? So like, I know for me, if I get someone that says I can help them figure out a marketing plan, but then if they're like, I don't know how to implement it, right? For me, I'm going to go, I know exactly who you need to talk to, right? Which is such a cool way for me to be like, create this network of like, it's like my online Rolodex.
Yes. And we do the same thing because sometimes it's not one size fits all. So we do the same thing. We refer business out for different reasons and different types of needs that our clients have. And I love that, even online, there's just tons of great networking going on. And you and I were talking about local networking too.
Right.
So networking is a key.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So what is something challenging that you both, and this could be something totally different for each of you, but what is something challenging that each of you have overcome in your time in business as an entrepreneur?
Well, I have to go back to when I was when I was juggling. That was the biggest one for me was, lack of sleep from having a newborn and a 2-year-old, and then trying to, figure out how was I gonna grow this business further than where I was? Because I was, I knew where I was and I knew what I had to get done. And it was just amazing to me how I remember outsourcing for the first time. And like, because a lot of the people we work with are in the Philippines, I would give them work at night and I wake up in the morning and it's all done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, it was like Christmas. It was like, it's like this huge weight of, all of the frustration at yourself and all the beating yourself up for, oh, I didn't post and I forgot to do posting there and I should have done something there. And, all it alleviated all of that guilt and all of that frustration.
Mm-hmm.
So it was amazing. And it's so great because a lot of our clients now, when they get a marketing virtual assistant, they're like, oh my God, I can see this huge vision for my business.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel more confident. I feel like a real business owner. It's amazing.
Right. And I think, to touch on the guilt that you feel, right? Especially mom guilt. And that sometimes I wonder, I'm like, I wonder if my mom had mom guilt. I wonder if that was a thing, right? In the late 80s and early 90s. Because I know after my daughter was born, I felt so much guilt, right? I was like, oh, surely I can do it all. I'm Superwoman. And that's what society tells you, right? Which is not true. Like, I mean, yes, I can do a lot of things, but also there has to be a breaking point in which I need help and other people need help as well. And I really saw that come to fruition after we had our son, where I was like, okay, now we have 2 kids and now it's a whole lot crazier. Like the house doesn't get quieter when you add more, it gets louder.
It really doesn't. No. But having said that, the beauty of it was for me was not having to be in an office all day long,
right?
And not having to drop off my little ones in the morning and not see them all day.
Mm-hmm.
My schedule is flexible. I could take them to the park during the day if it was nice out, or, I got to go to all of their, school events and stuff. And that's what I really wanted. So, yeah. And then it became even easier when I outsourced, things that I had to do. So,
right. And I think that's a good reminder for everyone, right? If you can outsource, things are going to get easier and you're going to have more time freedom in your schedule to be able to do what you want to do, whether that's take on more coaching clients, whether that's, only work 3 or 4 hours a day or 1 hour a day or whatever that is. I think that's an important reminder to everyone to say, like if you're outsourcing, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're creating time freedom for yourself.
Because you're smart.
Well, yes, you're smart. I would consider you smart. But right.
But let's go back to something when you said something about like your mom in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
We just had this great conversation. So remember, women had to fight really, really hard for the privilege of going to work. Think about that. We had to fight hard to go to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, there was a song, and I'm sure you don't remember it, but it was like, I'll bring home the bacon, I'll fry it up in a pan, and I'll never, ever, ever let you forget you're a man.
Yeah,
so
I do.
You do remember that?
I
so
do.
That was just like a perfume or something, right?
Uh-huh.
And that was the message that women were getting. It's fine if you want to work. That's great. But you're also going to do all the cooking and cleaning and raising the kids. And then you better be a good lover too, because, you're expected to have all these duties and all these responsibilities as a wife. So what's happened, I think, is that women still carry a lot of that. They still feel like that's their role. Mm-hmm. The other thing is in corporate America, we're still fighting for equality in management and leadership and CEO positions. Right. So that's the other thing. Women have always been, quote unquote, the support positions. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for women, I think, to step into that role of being the CEO, being the boss, and realizing that they deserve the support. You never have a man say, oh, I don't know if I'm worthy of having help.
Right.
I joke that men would delegate going to the bathroom. Oh, hey, yeah. Sam, secretary, I like to go pee around 2 p.m. Could you take care of that for me?
Right.
Where women are like, if we can't take care of it all, we failed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, I think that's something that we are hoping to change.
Mm-hmm.
And women, once they have a support person, they make amazing bosses. Women
Yeah.
are probably the best delegators and some of the best bosses once they give themselves permission to do so. And what
Mm-hmm.
happens is, what we've seen in our case is their virtual assistants are so loyal to them and so committed to their businesses that it just changes them completely. It changes their business, but it also changes these women as business owners.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think of how far we've come, but how far we still need to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think, giving yourself permission that just that alone, the permission to grow, right? No matter what kind of growth that is, I think when you step into that and really kind of embody that inner CEO. So for me, in my coaching programs, I call that a CEO mindset, right? Stepping into that inner visionary of where you want to be. Like, what do you want your life to look like? How do you want to feel? What do you want to step into and embody? Right. And then, moving, when you get to that point where you're like, yep, I know exactly where I want to go, then how can you adopt an employee mindset, right? And maybe that means more of a manager mindset where you're delegating those tasks and you know exactly what needs to get done, right? But then also for me, what I teach is bringing in a goddess mindset, right? So knowing that, yes, you need to take a day off, maybe not a whole day, but a part of a day, right? Start small. I had to start small when when we had our daughter. I went back to teaching yoga like 2 weeks after she was born because I was like, well, I have to. I own the studio. I own the place. I have to go back. Right. And I was so afraid that my teachers weren't going to carry the load of the studio the way I wanted to. So it's a really interesting just way to kind of look at things. So, bringing in those three mindsets of the CEO mindset, the employee mindset, the goddess mindset to really kind of bring this beautiful trifecta to your business. And then as you start to add in, right, virtual assistants or people who are helping to support your business, all of that vision gets clearer.
Yeah. And I think like when it comes to manifesting, you think about it's all about the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you create a feeling, or how do you think about having the feeling of having support if you've never had it? And right. Like with Jeanne, that was something to think about, right? Like it was, the first person who helped her hire was her bookkeeper. And then from there, it was like the virtual assistants to help with her client work and then to help with her marketing. But you don't understand how amazing it's going to feel to have that team member, to have that person working for you and supporting you in your business until you've had it.
Right.
So I think that's something that we've got to figure out how to relate to people, is this feeling of having support is just, if you've got a supportive husband, maybe dig on that so you can kind of get the feeling of having someone supportive in your life. Or if your parents have always been really supportive of you, think about how good it felt to have that kind of support when you're in your goddess mindset, because that'll help you manifest that person that's going to help you grow your business.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's awesome. So what is one piece of advice that each of you would give to your younger self? What would you tell a younger version of you that maybe someone else needs to hear?
Buy Google stock when Google's invented. when the Google comes and the Facebook comes, buy the stock. That would be
buy the stock.
Yeah.
I would say, take the chance, take the risk. Don't be afraid that you're not smart enough, that you're not capable. If you need help, get a coach, get a mentor, get somebody who can help move you forward. Because, we're capable of so much. And there are so many people out there who need our help.
Right.
And, and then as we hire, we're giving someone else, a salary. And that's such a great feeling because now they can support their family, and it's just like Kirsten said, I just think as women, we make such great decisions and we're givers, and we can make such a huge difference for people we don't even know yet.
Yeah, I would agree. I really love that a lot. I think, once you realize your potential, I think then it's much easier to kind of step into that larger role, but also, going back to giving yourself permission to allow that inner growth, the outer growth, right? The mindset growth, right? That mindset piece in business. I mean, it was revolutionary for me when I tapped into that. So,
absolutely.
just learning that mindset piece of like, I can grow was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Can I go?
My advice was buy the Google stock and buy the Facebook stock when it comes to that.
Buy the Google, buy the Facebook.
But I guess I will say one of the things that I have a passion about is helping women also learn to invest more money, right? And I guess that's something I wish I learned earlier on, like, the whole compounding interest. And, if you learn that in your teens and your 20s, it can change your life.
Oh my gosh,
So for people who are, for young women that are starting businesses, pay yourself first. If you are, no matter what your age, pay yourself first. I know sometimes it's hard because as you grow a business, it's always like, you've got so many things to pay for. So I think that would be the advice.
Yeah. And I think that's good advice as well. I know, thinking back to like high school, we did not learn that at all. Compound interest, not at all. Never. Which I think is really such a disservice, right? Like, and so it was like, well, I have to rely on someone else to understand my finances. And as a growing business owner, once I left corporate, like I was the one who had to understand the finances. I had to understand what was coming in, what was going out, the correlation between the two. I had to pay myself. I had to learn how to do blah, 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 right? Even if I had a bookkeeper or an accountant or whatever, I still had to understand that stuff in order for me to make wise choices with my money, and I think as women, I think that is also hard for us to navigate because we don't know, right? At least I didn't know. That wasn't something my parents really taught me. My mom taught me how to balance a checkbook, but that doesn't teach me about compound interest. So, I just recently within the past probably 5 to 8 years have been learning about compound interest. So that is something that's very new to me that I'm like, man, I wish I would have learned about this a long time ago. But there's also never a better time to start learning about it than right now, right? So if you're not sure, like start learning now. And there's so many resources out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So my last question for you both is, if you were a kitchen utensil or gadget, what would you be and why?
I would probably be a microwave or an oven. I would have to say one, because when you put certain things in the microwave, you can blow them up. I feel like that kind of suits my personality. And then I feel like with the oven, it's like that ability to heat things up and then to also maintain heat.
Yeah. I love it.
I was going to say a wine cork. Is that wrong? Or a corkscrew?
A corkscrew?
No, that's absolutely new.
It represents, celebration and happiness and, typically, good times with good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So. You can see why we're good partners. We're absolute opposites. I want to blow shit up and she wants to open wine and be happy. We're great. We work so well together. We bring balance.
I love that. That's so good though, right? I feel like you definitely need that yin and yang, right? Especially if you're in business with someone else, right? So if you're in a partnership, you have to have that balance of, just to maintain your business. That's wonderful. Well, it's been so amazing to have you both on the podcast with me. So go ahead and I'll drop all the links below in the show notes, but tell everyone how they can connect with you and just where they can find you.
sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com or Six Figure Business Coaching on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is where we put the most content, and that's SIX, Six Figure Business Coaching. And we try to provide videos each week that'll help you grow your business and help you with your marketing.
Yep. And our program is called the Marketing VA Advantage. So it's the marketingvaadvantage.com where we We'll help you if you want to use video, which is the most popular type of content on all the platforms. And then we match you with a marketing virtual assistant who we train for you, and we give you all the SOPs and everything so that, you know, your marketing is all taken care of for you. We love it.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for being on. And I can't wait for everyone to hear our conversation today.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been so fun.
Wow. What a great interview. Thank you so much for showing up here on the Chaos to Clarity podcast. Again, my name is Maggie. I'm so excited to connect with you. You can find all of the information, all of the links below in the show notes for today's interview. And I hope you have the best day ever.